In his collection, My Little Lines, the poet Dwight Burrell isn't just writing poems. He's really inviting us into a conversation. So today, we're going to take a journey through his very personal answers to some of life's absolute biggest questions. Like, what are we even here for? How are we supposed to deal with all the struggle? And, what's love really all about? Right from the jump, you can feel how personal this is. This isn't some stuffy academic work. He's literally asking us to watch as his mind bleeds onto the paper. He's sharing his thoughts in their rawest, most honest form. It's pretty powerful stuff.
So, where does his mind take us first? Well, he goes straight for the big one of the most fundamental questions we all ask ourselves. What is our purpose?
Now, for Burrell, the answer isn't some huge, solitary goal you have to achieve all on your own. No, it's way simpler and honestly, probably way more profound. He believes our purpose is all about connection. He says that a life you don't share with other people, well, that's a life that just doesn't have any meaning. And to really drive this point home, he brings in someone he clearly looks up to. This quote from Bob Marley just perfectly captures that same idea. A life that's only about you isn't really a life worth living at all. It's all about the impact we have on each other. Okay, and here's where he introduces this really fascinating paradox, something that's right at the heart of being human. See, on one hand, he says living is a constant struggle, basically a state of nonstop suffering. But at the same time, we're terrified of death, which, as he points out, would be the very thing that ends all that suffering. Kind of makes you think, right?
This whole idea of struggle is just so central to his work. So if life really is a constant struggle, then what are we supposed to do about it? This is where he gets super practical.
I absolutely love this. It's such a powerful way to reframe a feeling we all try to avoid. For Burrell, feeling frustrated isn't a dead end. It's actually a signal. It's the starting gun, telling you that something needs to change and it's time to do something about it. And he doesn't just throw that idea out there. He gives us a whole toolkit, a 4-step process for it. First, you got to pinpoint what's actually making you frustrated. Then you figure out a solution. And here's the key part. You actually act on it. And finally, you have to honestly look at the results. If it didn't work, well, you just start the process all over again. He also talks about struggle when it comes to young people. His advice for parents is pretty interesting. He says don't try to protect your kids from every mistake. Instead, be like a library for them, a reliable place they can always go to get information to help them navigate life's challenges. So why do so many of us fail to push through all these struggles? Well, Burrell's diagnosis is blunt. He says we've basically become a society of professional quitters. The second things get hard, whether it's at work, in school, in our relationships, our go-to move is just to give up. And you can just feel that raw exhaustion in his poetry. He uses Jamaican patois here to describe the feeling of just being worn down by a brutal winter. Me can't take it no more. I mean, you don't even need a translation to feel the deep, deep weariness in those words. But then, and this is what's so incredible, in another poem, he looks at the very same thing, at snow, and sees something completely different. He sees beauty, purity, innocence. It's this perfect example of the two sides of struggle. Yeah, it can cause us our deepest pain, but it can also show us the most profound beauty. And that delicate balance, that dance between struggle and joy, brings us right to our final theme, the one that really holds both of those things together, love.
I just love this story. It's so simple, so down to earth. For Burrell, love isn't about some huge, dramatic gesture. Not at all. It's found in the small, everyday acts of taking care of someone. It starts, as he says so perfectly, right there in the kitchen.
And he even gives us a literal receipt, a recipe really, for romance. And look at the ingredients. They're not complicated. A pinch of care, an ounce of love, a dash of romance, and lots of TLC. It's not about one big thing. It's about all the little things you do, day in and day out. And of course, you see this come to life in his poetry. It's just so direct and full of genuine affection and admiration. You can really hear the warmth in lines like these, comparing the person he loves to a fine vintage wine. So he starts with this very personal, romantic idea of love, but then he zooms way out. He uses it as the foundation for a much bigger idea, a call for all of us to spread love. This is his vision for a better world. And it's so simple, but so profound. It doesn't take a massive political movement or some complicated strategy.
It just starts with each and every one of us. Imagine if every single person started their day with love and gratitude, and then just shared it. The whole world would change.
And just like that, we've come full circle right back to that first big question about our purpose. For Burrell, it all boils down to this one powerful idea. Our ultimate purpose is to be unselfish.
But he's a realist. He adds this super important, practical piece of advice. To live an unselfish life, you have to help yourself first. And that's not about being selfish. It's about making sure you're strong and stable enough so you can be of even greater help to the people who need you.
In the end, this is the idea that ties everything, purpose, struggle, and love all together. It's a powerful final instruction. It's not enough to just talk a good game. You have to actually live it. Your actions, that's your real message to the world.
So we'll leave you with the author's own words, which he basically turns into a mirror for all of us. He makes this incredible distinction. The words we say might tell people who we are, but our actions are what define what kind of humans we are. So the question he leaves us with is a big one. What do your actions say about you?